Hello, hello, hello. Nope, tonight I came on smiling. We gonna talk tonight. How y'all doing tonight? Hi. I think I'm saying it right, spiritual. I'm glad to see you in the building tonight. you know, not the physical building, but here in the place. I hope everybody is doing well tonight. I'm gonna tell a story, but tonight I'll be doing things a little bit different here. But tonight what I'm gonna be talking about is no, I'm gonna just give it a little bit of time and just hang on and see. Uh what am I gonna do? It's good. I'm glad you made it to one of the lives and everything. And eventually I'm gonna do something where people are able to ask me questions about my videos and all of that there. But tonight, this is light one tonight. So what I'm gonna be talking about tonight is the embarrassment that I had about having so many children. Um And with this embarrassment, not that I was ashamed of my kids or anything, but the stigma of having so many kids is I've heard people talk and say um, different things and in my life growing up about people having kids. So I wanted to be in a place. Good evening to you too, Shine. Thank you for joining us. Um, I didn't want to feel that feeling of um my kids being an embarrassment, no matter how many kids that I had. So at this time, I was going to a church that I'll get into later on down the line, but I like to make sure that I'm in the right place to be able to tell the story. But when you dealing with God's people, period. So um at this time in my life, I had left the church that I was attending. But also at the same time, I told you I was praying to God and I was telling him that I didn't want to feel the embarrassment of having my children because I love my children. Um, so I went back to this church to visit and talk to a couple of people there at the church. And while there, my mom had a friend that also went to this church too. Um, she then looked at me and she was like, "Girl, you pregnant again?" And I looked at her and I said, "Yes, I am pregnant again. Hi, Faith. Thank you for joining." I said, yes, I am pregnant again. And she paused for a second and she turned around and she said, I know your mama turning over in her grave with you having all of these children. And oh my God, I was like, but nobody knew any of the prayers that I was praying, but I couldn't believe that she had said it. And I'll tell you why I couldn't believe that she said it, because at this point, I'm pregnant with baby number 7. But not only am I pregnant with baby number 7, I'm also a married woman who's with my husband, and my husband is taking care of his family very well. So I was lost for a second. But I also want you to keep in mind that the prayers that I had prayed, and I told God I didn't want to feel the embarrassment that came along with having so many kids. So when she said it, I looked at her for a second. After she done told me my mama turning over in her grave because I keep having so many kids, I turned around and I looked at her and I said, my mama turning over in her grave because I'm having so many kids. I said, that just let me know you didn't know my mama very well. But then too, as time went on, I'm standing there and thinking about it. And I said, yeah, the woman that had 3 children with a married man, she gonna be turning over in her grave because me, her daughter, is having children, married, and everything. Hey, Charlie. Her daughter that is having children, married, with her husband, she gonna be turning over in her grave. So I said, wow. But later on in life, as I'm going through this journey, because still I'm where I'm is. I don't want to feel no nothing. I want to stand proud and say, if I had 15, 20 children, I want to stand proud and be able to scream it. And I don't care about what nobody think that's in the room. I'm proud of having my kids. After walking away from it, I thought back because, I was a child back then when her watching us grow up. But as I made that statement about my mama having 3 children, I didn't realize that the woman that's standing there telling me this, she was also one that had done slept with somebody's husband and had a baby from them too. But she telling me my mama turning over in her grave because I'm yet standing in front of her pregnant again. And I just say that to say that sometimes when you pray and you ask God for something, he gonna allow somebody to come along and see if you gonna change it up from what already he done instilled on the inside of you, to see if you gonna switch it up because that one person come along and say it. And this person was a deaconess in the church. So what she said carried a lot of weight. And when she said it in front of the pastor. And because the pastor did not correct her, it still left me feeling like, dang, I'm failing once again. But because I kept going back and revisiting it in my mind, everything started to add up, and I'm looking at it. It's like, God had to put me in that position for me to be able to stand on it, on what it was that I believed in. So going back and looking at all of that, yeah, she said what she said, but I also know what I know. And so everything that she spoke on that day, I'll say about a year or 2 after she spoke those words, I was then walking and being free and happily screaming, but not at this time. I now do not only have 7 children. At this point, my children done multiplied by 2. So not only do I have 7 children, I have 14 children. Now ask me how I got to that number. And to this day, I'm still screaming, I got 14 children, and I say it proudly. And guess what? If my mama is rolling over in her grave, that's between her and Jesus. I hope I don't be rolling over in mine, because I heard dead people just lie still and they don't roll around no more. But that's what was said to me. So I just want this to be a testimony to somebody, that just because somebody come along and they not in agreement with what it is that you're doing in your life right now, it don't mean you got to move anywhere. Stay where you is and stay on your path to what it is that you feel like you should be doing, because nobody ain't know that I was asking God for peace, for me to be able to say the number of kids I have, no matter how I got them. They're my kids to raise. I'm doing all of the work, me and my husband. I don't want to feel anything when I say, I want to feel proud when I say I got 14 children. I want to feel proud. And that's exactly what I feel right now today. So don't think that when you pray for something, there ain't going to be changes and stuff that you go through to have to get to where it is that you want and what you asking God for. So I don't know, from here, like, we can have a conversation or whatever, but I feel like I a lot of times I like drop it and be running from off of here. But I'll go back. Let me see. Hey Charlie, thank you. Shine, never let the judgments of others change your path. And that's exactly what I'm talking about. Like, so people had come in and said things. I could have let that change what it was, the path that I was on. But it's just like God, to let somebody come along and the very thing that you prayed and asked for, you turn around and somebody right there standing in front of you telling you that's a deacon in the church or something like that, and that's telling you, girl, you keep on having all them children. So I gave it, even though I gave it the side eye, it still made me feel some type of way, but it didn't stop me from staying on the path of where I was supposed to be going. You are a blessed woman. You did so much for so many. I don't know how you did it. Charlie, I don't know how I did it either. I would have never ever thought. That's why it's so saddening that when I was going through a lot of this stuff that I went through, I don't think God was requiring me to look back at it, because if I look back at it then, I probably would have been so broken and tore down back then. But when you're able to go through the stuff that I go through, and then you have children, and to know that I look at, when I'm telling these stories, I'm looking at it and watching it from a point of view is, boy, this would be so hurtful if any of this stuff was happening to my kids. So I'm glad I couldn't see it back then, and in the process of purging it out of myself at this time. So Charlie, yeah, I don't know how I did it either. It wasn't on my own strength, I can tell you that. Yes, and please like and share and subscribe if you like. If not, if you just like coming through and seeing every now and then, it's fine. And sometimes these videos may not be for you, but I know that a lot of times we all know people that it's probably meant for you to see it, but it's probably meant for you to pass it on to somebody else who need it. Lit on tap. Hey, my love. Good to see you. Good to see you too. And thank you again for joining. I have one child. I know how much it takes to raise kids, and you raise 14. That's a lot. To take on that much responsibility at such a young age, also, all you've been through, you're amazing. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Charlie. Yes, and sometimes, now with that one right there that you just said, sometimes I look back and I do feel resentful, because I've been raising kids since I was 11 years old. 11 years old is the furthest back that I can remember that I had a heavy responsibility of taking care of my sister at 11 years old. So, and it's like now, it's like I'm in a place of learning right now in this moment, as I still have 3 kids that are underage. I'm learning how to steal time for me. Even if that makes sense. Sometimes it's hard, and it's not that anybody's holding me back from doing anything. It is solely me and the way that I was built up. Is like I just feel like I'm stuck. I can't get away. I can't have a moment to myself. But I have to get up and tell myself differently every day. Yes, you can. If you want to. If you want to make time for yourself, you can. But when the years behind you are more than the ones in front of you, it's almost easier to live the life you already uh to be so familiar, versus coming over here and finding out how much freer you can be if you just try this over here. you know um Thank you for this word this evening. Thank you so much. And she said it makes sense. I'm known for getting on and babbling on, but I'm also known for I get in front of people and I start talking and talking, and sometimes I'll be like, I don't even know what I'm talking about. I just go on and on, and before you know it, people will say, "Girl, I just got everything out of what you just said." And I don't even know what it is that they got from out of it, but they got everything that they need from out of it. So I appreciate when I see that, even if this is just for one person, I'm fine with that. And also, I'm freeing myself at the same time. And a lot of times when I tell these stories, I still feel funny about sharing the story because I know these people. Sometimes I run into these people, but the truth is the truth, and I can't do anything to change it. And I'm gonna come on here and talk about it and do my best not to try to put nobody down. But I'm gonna tell my story because I know it's a whole lot of other people that done went through some of the stuff that I've been through. Probably not as much stuff as I've been through, but I know some people that done went through some things. So I'm gonna keep on talking about them and doing just what I do. And like right now, it's like I'm like out of words to say unless there's any questions. Um, Freeing a lot of people. Um, Lit on tap. I would say I see a lot of people say that, and I can't really get into that part of it. And I don't really look at it in that way, but I it's like I can feel it just like a little bit when the only thing I feel like I'm doing is I'm freeing myself. And if I'm freeing somebody else along the way if I'm freeing someone else along the way of freeing myself, then gosh, you don't even know how that make my heart feel to know that other people are being set free based off of my story. If people only knew like what was happening behind the scenes before I get to the point of coming on here and releasing, I go through a battle behind the scenes. And there's a few people who know about that battle that go behind the scene, because I try to go and talk to different people at different times and like tell the story a whole bunch of times before the end, because I'm trying to prevent myself from coming on here and crying tears, because my whole life I've been taught that you weak if you cry. So I've been growing up my whole life knowing not to cry about anything. And I've been hard around the edges like that. No tears, no nothing. So I absolutely hate it when I come on here and cry. But what happens to me is that I've tried to tell so many people about the story thinking, okay, I'll get a little bit of relief if I just don't, if I tell it to some people on the phone or I talk about it over the phone, and then I can get away with it. But I can tell you, once I wake up in the morning, and I'm sharing a little bit of my process with, once I wake up in the morning and I wake up with something that happens to me on my mind, I already know that I'm supposed to share it. But I have this thing that I do that I dig my heels in, and I don't want to do it because I don't care about crying in a corner by myself, which I've did in all my life basically. But to let people see those tears, that's a different thing. So I be done went through every extreme that I can go through before I can come on here and show my tears. And sometimes I feel upset with God because I feel like he pushing me to do this, but why? And you know, a lot of people say you don't question God, but I also feel like if you can't ask him questions, then how will you know? So I try to wipe that thing out of my head with people saying, don't ask God no questions. No, I ask God questions on a day-to-day basis. I even ask God that people that ain't supposed to be around me, I don't want them around me. Period. I pray people away. And guess what? If those people are supposed to be around me, then they will be around me. So, but do I question God? I absolutely do. Maybe not in the way that people thinking question him, but I question God so I can understand, like, what am I supposed to be doing? Because I've been following other people for so long in my life, and people have failed me a lot of times. So now I don't got no room for letting nobody come along and fail me. If anything about me gonna fail, I'm gonna be accountable for the failures that I make. It's gonna be between me and God. Nobody else putting something on me that once again they can say that I failed at. Um, at the end of the day, you're helping somebody else to breathe and get where you are. Well, I hope for sure that is what's happening. It's not the first time that I heard that, but I promise you on everything, I'm here trying to free my own self. And that's why I barely come on here and do lives and everything, because this is, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just coming on here talking. And so this is I'm very comfortable in the place that I live in and the people that I be around. This is another level of comfort. So it's not that easy to come in front of people that you don't know and be able to, in my opinion, it's like standing in front of people naked. But I can tell you, after the process is gone through, I feel like a burden and a weight has been lifted off of me every time that I do it. And I know the people inside of my house feel a difference in me, because the whole time I'm fighting not to come and tell these stories, everybody dealing with the attitude or the quietness that I go through whenever I'm going through those situations. So, and I'm sure later on it'll get easier for me to do it. Right now, it's just not the easiest thing. God wants you to talk and ask. I feel that's how we learn and get closer. I absolutely feel the same thing. And until I changed it up where I ask God questions, it ain't never worked for me, because, and somebody said to me simply, you have not because you ask not. And I'm like, what does that mean? You mean to say you want me to ask God a question? I said, oh. Then I even learned, like, how you give God a challenge. Lord, if it's meant for me to do this, this, and this, put something in front of me that allows me to know that it's you. That's you saying that. And I'm just trying to give like a little bit of thing so you come up with your own thing. Don't follow behind what I do, because I'm human too. I can run you into a wall at any point. I'm just saying about how I came about to a place of being freer. I ask questions. And that's it. I talk to God just like I talk to people. So your strength and wait, he wants you to help others. Those feelings is not just to help you, but that's a message someone else needs to hear with too. Yep, I believe that. Your strength and stories helps others. That is a blessing. Thank you, Charlie. And we're grateful you're here. I promise you. That's so good to know that somebody is getting something out of it, and that would make me go to bed. My heart is already smiling for that. Say, hey, bench thinker, I ain't seen you in a minute. Well, it ain't like I be on here every day either, but it's good to see you. I get it. You're bearing your soul, and I want to personally thank you for being vulnerable with us. Thank you so much. You know, Charlie, you know where and I'm you know, I'll be governing what I say. But in other sectors that I look at all of those people, and I think none of these people have gone through anything that I've been through. So I don't say anything over in any other places or anything. But it just goes to show you that there are illusions that are set up that make you think that you can be in a room of 1,000 people and not even know that all of those 1,000 people that's standing there in there with you, you all can have the same exact story, and none of us know because nobody's willing to share or talk about it with anybody. And that's what I have learned over time. So it's like when I see people that I know from other sectors and stuff, I look at them and it's like they're the strongest person, and I feel like I'm the weakest when I'm in those areas, to be honest with you. Because I feel like I'm the only one that's there going through those things. And so when I find out that Shauna, you don't own an island by your own self. And when you think about it in that way, yeah, you don't want anybody to have any of those experiences you have, but it's relieving that somebody in this world understands what you went through. If anything that I just said makes sense to anybody. I've asked God so much, so often, that I now ask him not to let me gain the world and lose my soul. Ooh, that's a good one right there. Now, that's something that recently has came up, because I read my comments sometimes and I try to ignore the ones, but I also like to answer the question. Even the people who being mean to me, I try not to go back at them the same way that they go at me. And that does not mean that Shauna does not have a streak. I try to keep that person put away, because once she comes out of the bag, it's hard to put her back in there. Very hard to put her back in there. So I still try to answer those questions, because some of those crazy questions they valid questions. Okay, I'm just let me go back and let me go back to what I was, because I'll be done went into something that I ain't supposed to speak about, I believe, on this day. I ask God so often, not to lose my soul. But the point that I was about to make before I went along that long line of talking was that I get comments that say, it's a shame that you on here exposing your mom to make $1. And for the people who know, I can't, because I can't please the world, but for the people who know, even though you see my numbers, I am not monetized, and nor am I running the race to be monetized. I just am not. I come on here when I have something, in my opinion, of value that I can come on and say. And I know I don't need to explain that to anybody. But at a certain point, I did say, okay, I want to tell my story, but I also want to, I also want a way of making another stream of income for my family. So for a troll or somebody to say that, you absolutely right, but I can't make none of this stuff up. I lived it for real. So these are my stories, and I get to tell them. And I'm going to tell them that at one point in my life, yes, I am going to be monetized. I am. But my stories are, and I'm going to get away from that right there. But I just wanted to touch on that. Finding what's true to me, that said, I think this is for you. It was on my heart today. Don't worry about anyone for whom, from whom whatever you did, you were never going to be enough. This is the day that the Lord has made, and I will be glad in it. Amen to that. I'm going to be glad in it. Even if I ain't if I ain't glad about it right now, eventually I will. And the things that I don't have peace with, I believe one day that I'll be able to come. I can't even go back and watch some of the videos that I watch without crying. So I don't go back and watch those videos. I drop them and I leave them right where they are. Do I look in the comment section every now and then? Yes, I absolutely do. But I do not go back and watch those videos because I don't want to sit around and just cry about it. I actually want to heal from those things. Hi, Arkivia Ross. Thank you for joining me. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Hey, Kajaria, how are you today? Miss Kajaria, what are you gonna say today? You got something to talk about, girl? Girl, you got me with the biggest smile in Dollar Tree. Hey, nah, yes, Dollar Tree, Dollar Tree. Dollar Tree turning into not to be the Dollar Tree no more. But I'm glad I was able to make you smile or whatever. And I'm glad I was able to say something that somebody needed to get out of anything. Any other questions, Kajaria? Sure, you can come up. I will drop a link. What you mean you don't know? I'll drop the link and let's see where it goes. Let me see what I'm doing, because I'm doing this from alrighty then. Ew. Girl, Kajai, you got me working. I don't know how to do this on here because I'm okay. I'm learning because I'm on my phone tonight. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know how to do it. So whatever question you got, you have to ask it in the same, because I'm not on the computer tonight. I'm on my phone. So I don't know how to post the I'm learning along with y'all, so I'm on my phone, so I don't know how to post the link. So Um, mm. Okay. All right. If nobody else don't have any questions, Kajaria, we're gonna have to do it another time. But Kajaria is actually gonna soon create her page and everything, and so we'll be hearing more from her real soon. She has an amazing story herself. Very different from my story, but an amazing story all at the same time. So, if nobody else has any questions, I guess the dog got some questions. I can hear him barking right now. I'm going to end the live if there's no more questions. I'd like to thank everybody for coming through, supporting and participating in the conversation. And until next time, again, thank you all for joining Life with Tashana. See you all next time. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.